We started in 2007. We wanted to create a church that made sense to people who didn't have any sort of meaningful church background. So after we explored 40 venues in the downtown core, we wound up at a movie theater that's 5 stories underground on Spring Garden Road. And our first Sunday there, we were supposed to start worship at 10:30, and at 11:15, we were still hauling boxes out to the dumpster and unboxing sound gear and all this kind of thing. And we had a couple of those preview services, and then we launched the first Sunday of November. We had 75 people, and by the end of that month, there was 35 people left there, and we just started to go, man, what's going to happen with this? Where are we going to go from here? So we had this church launched, and now we had to figure out, how do we connect with the people in our city who frankly aren't interested in Jesus, who don't care about him, who don't necessarily believe in him. And so we began to pray and to invite, and people began to slowly come in. And as they showed up, they invited their friends, and more came. We didn't do any real marketing. We tried to make sure we had a solid website that when people were kind of Googling us to make sure we weren't a cult, they would find out who we really were. And we made sure that our people knew that this is a church that's completely designed for you to bring your friend who doesn't already believe in Jesus, and it's going to be a place that, as much as it's possible for us, it's going to be safe and comfortable and open to them. They don't have to dress a certain way, act a certain way, believe anything specific. They can just come and explore the questions of faith that they have. About 7 years in, we realized that the theater, we kind of outlived our time there. We began to explore, where might there be a building in the downtown core that we could buy that would work for our needs. And through a relationship with a city councilor, he kind of pointed out to me this person who the building wasn't up for sale, but they might be willing to sell it to us. And so we came and we walked through the building with this gentleman to see if this would be a good home for us. We took the tour. We said, hey, what kind of people would you be willing to sell this to? And he said, people like you who are on a mission. And we took that as a pretty cool sign. And as we were getting ready to leave, he looked at us and he said, I see God in you. And you, pointed to the other guys who were with me. And we just took that as a huge confirmation that this is where we were supposed to be for the next phase of our life together. So we bought the building, relatively small building in pretty rough shape. We've just kind of slowly been chipping away at getting this thing into shape, but absolutely no one's coming here because of the building. No one's driving by this building and going, wow, something awesome must be happening in there. It looks super rough, but what God's doing inside it is beautiful. So we moved here to overcome some facility limitations, but then this explosive growth has created more facility limitations. We do 3 services on a Sunday, 9:30, 11, and 12:30. It's flat out the whole time. The building is in use almost every evening. I am not even allowed to use my office some nights because there's other things booked in there. If I'm coming in after hours, I got to check with the person who administrates the building schedule to see if I can sit at my own desk. It's been a challenge, but it's an incredible challenge to have. And we are so excited to see where God's going to move next, how he's going to open up the next door. He opened up the door for us to the theater in miraculous ways. He opened up the door to this facility for us in miraculous ways. And we keep saying that a miracle is part of our strategic plan for what God's going to allow us next in terms of what building we're going to be able to use to reach this city for Jesus. I remember the first day that Pastor B came and visited us here in this facility. He walked in, I gave him the tour, showed him around, and finally, after about 15 minutes, he stood in the middle of the stage and he looked me right in the eyes and he said, "This just goes against everything I've been teaching for 40 years. And it does. It does. None of this makes sense. This building is dumpy and run down. On the outside, it looks like it's going to fall over. There's no parking lot. There's one parking spot if someone remembers to put the garbage can back. People have to walk for blocks to get here. We haven't done any big marketing push. We're not a well-known denominational entity in this community. And Halifax is not really known as a Bible Belt sort of place. And one of the things that seeing what God has done here has done for me is to just ratchet up my level of believability that no matter what the limitation is you face, no matter what the challenges that you're trying to overcome, no matter what you could put on the list of reasons why it can't happen here, the truth of the matter is God wants to bless your church He wants to use you to reach people in your community for Him. And if you will believe in what He can do, and you will be smart and wise in your leadership and stay in step with the Spirit, God can do amazing things no matter what the limitations.